Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Talkin' Tunes. I am your host, Frank Walsh. Thanks for tuning in today. Now folks, this is going to be a little bit of a different show because as you know, the name of the show is Talkin' Tunes, but today there are not going to be any tunes. Instead, you are going to be meeting a lady who is a dear friend, who is well known in the music industry, and normally when you see her out and about, she's in the background. But today, she is going to be in front of this camera telling you a story about a situation that has changed her life about a month and a half ago. It's somewhat sad, but because she is a woman of faith, a woman of courage, and a woman of resistance, she is going to uplift you as well. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you my dear friend, Miss Hattie Barrett. Hattie, thank you for coming on today, and first of all, thank you for asking me to be a part of this show.
And I thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come forward and say some encouraging words, yet tell you about my journey so far.
Before we get into that, why don't we talk a little bit about your background a little bit. We all know that you are Shorty Billups, the great blues man's manager. And again, you're normally in the background, and you've got some history beyond that as well. I know as a career you were a professional nurse,
Yes.
and along the road you've had a couple of bumps in the road. And why don't you pick up from there and start telling the story of some of the things that have happened to you in the past, health-wise, and where you are now.
Okay. First of all, I'm originally from Georgia. But I went to school here. I'm a retired nurse for 40 plus years. And during that time, I met Shorty Billups, and I became his manager. And I've been doing that, and I'm going to still do that, be his manager. In 1983, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and that was removed. And I get so emotional because I've been through so much, but my faith and my prayers and my family and just the support from everybody. In 2006, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I beat that also through prayer. And then in 2007, I believe, I had the total knee replacements. I had all of that done. I've had the hip replacement done. I've been through all of that, but through it all, I've just been praying and keeping myself going. But I wanted to come forward because a month and a half ago, I was diagnosed with pancreatic CA. It sneaked up on me, never had any clue. And this is things that we have to watch, people. We have to watch ourselves. The only symptoms that I had was a stomach ache. So when I went to the doctor, had a CAT scan, I'm in stage 4. It's been hard. It's been very hard. It's been a struggle for me. But I have people like Frank and Laura, Allie, James Montgomery, and most of all, I got Shorty that's there every step of the way. I got my family that's praying for me. Everybody is praying for me. It's hard, people. We need to pay attention to ourselves. I think back now, when I was coming up, and I see where our people are dying, our black people are dying because we don't pay attention to what we're supposed to be doing. We don't know a whole lot about pancreatic cancer. When our people died, that's when they died from cancer, never knowing what type of cancer. And during this journey, I found out that my whole side of my fathers, they died of cancer. We didn't know that. They have tests now, people, that we need to do the test. There's a test called the CA125. Please get tested. Pay attention to yourself. I have lost a total of 35 pounds. I'm thinking, oh, well, because I'm busy and running and stressing with the COVID and stuff, that was good. I wanted to be a size 10. Last time I was a size 10 when I was about 16 years old. So this is not me. This is not who I want to be. I prayed about doing this. I asked the Lord for the strength to come before the camera and tell you this is no joke. This is definitely not a joke. Please take care of yourself. If you have a family member that has cancer, go and do that test. Do the test. It's crucial that you do the test. This pancreatic cancer, the pancreas controls the sugar. So if you find yourself not functioning right and you're new diabetic, check yourself out. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. I don't want to get myself so excited, but I'm just so passionate about the fact that we need to pay attention. We have a lot of blues people that's leaving, but they're leaving here. But we never know. Only thing we know that they died of cancer. We need to take care of ourselves. Black people don't have the insurance. And if I didn't have the type of insurance that I would have, I would be going to a regular hospital, not being tested correctly. I'm getting my care at Dana-Farber. I have a great medical team. Great medical team. They hop right on it. As soon as they find out that I had pancreatic cancer, they started the treatment. I did my 4th treatment. And it's so tiring. I get so tired. But still I have to keep going. And this is something that I want to do. This is not the first time. I'm going to try to make sure that I take you along with me to see the progress, to see God's work. He's working with me. Frank, I love you and I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come before people and tell them. I thank you so much.
Well, it's an honor that you had asked me, Hattie, but let's go back a little bit and talk about the psychological effect that this must have had on you when you sat in front of your doctor and he revealed the results that you do have pancreatic cancer. What's that initial shock and what was your reaction to that?
You're right. It was a shock. And when I was told, I didn't know what to say. First thing out of Shorty's mouth, you're going to be okay. Because I said, what am I going to do? He said, don't worry, you're going to be okay.
And as a nurse, I'm sure that you understand what pancreatic is and yes, what the consequences of having that is or are. And at what point from the time that you learned to the point where you sat back and said, I'm going to beat this?
When I was first told that.
Right away?
Right away.
Wow.
Right away. I said, Lord, if it be your will. So I talk to the Lord every day, Frank. He's forever on my lips. I had an experience. I came through that too. I had a spiritual, out-of-body experience.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, my sister and I, we was up watching TV and I was getting sort of anxious, so I said to her, I'm going to go up and go to bed. So I went upstairs to go to bed. And then I called her. I said, Henrietta, can I have some crackers and water? I didn't want no crackers and water, but that's what I was asking her for. So she came into the room. Matter of fact, Henrietta is my sister. She has been with me, taking care of me from day one. So she brought the crackers and the water up. So I was in the bed, and she says to me, I says to her, I said, Henrietta, somebody is in here. She said, what do you mean? I said, somebody is in this room. She said, well, I don't see anybody. So in the meantime, she noticed that I had opened the window. Now, it was snowing outside. It was cold. It was snowing. And I asked her, she said, why is the window open? I said, I don't know. I don't know why the window is open.
Did you open it?
I guess I did open it, but I don't know why I opened it. In the meantime, I had this, it was this repugnant smell. And she didn't smell it, but I did. So I said to her, Henrietta, somebody is in here. So I got scared. I started crying. Mm-hmm. So she called for my uncle in Georgia, who is a minister, Victor Johnson. He's a minister. So he called and he asked me, what do you smell? So I was trying to explain it to him. So he started to pray. And I was so scared. I was just crying. I was saying, they're trying to take me. They're trying to take me. They're taking me. They're taking me. So he started to pray louder and harder. So he started to speak in tongue. And I said to him, I said, Uncle Vic, I can smell a sweet smell. So, because like in the meantime, I was having pain, but when they're taking me, there was no pain. I had no pain whatsoever. No pain. So as soon as he started to pray, and I could smell the the pain came back. So we figured then that it was gone. It was gone. And it took like 2 nights before I would sleep in the dark. Now I can sleep in the dark because the smell, I'm telling you, is something that I cannot explain. And my sister was telling me that she had experienced that before.
Now, do you still experience that odor?
No, I don't.
It was that one-time situation?
That was a one-time situation, Frank, and it was terrible. Terrible. Terrible situation. I've never experienced it.
What do you think that was? Do you have any thoughts on what that may have been?
I think that was an evil spirit.
I was just going to say that I think that the evil spirit was coming to get you.
Yes.
And you said
no.
No. And your will and your strength and your spirit and your faith in God fought that spirit off.
Right.
And you were able to turn that repugnant smell into something sweet.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback on that a little bit, first of all, it's very difficult for me to talk to you right now without wanting to hold your hand. And I know that it's tough to do that.
And you see I'm trying to hold my hands to myself.
But when you called me and was talking with Laura and me, and you told us about your situation, which was very difficult for us to hear, we went home, and Laura and I are very spiritual, and we have somewhat of a gift of spirit. And we held hands, and we prayed for you. And normally, we see things. We see things. And I have to say that on my end, when I was doing that, praying real hard and really hard and trying to focus on you, in bad situations that I've done this in the past, I've seen the light. And you know what seeing the light means.
Yes.
You're passing over.
Yeah.
I saw nothing but darkness. I saw nothing but darkness. And I saw a little bit of light and fire at the bottom. And when we broke our hold on each other, I said, Hattie's going to be okay. Because I felt the strength from the fire, and I saw the darkness keeping you in the dark, not going over into the light. And that was very, very powerful for me. So I can relate to that spiritual feeling that you had. Mm-hmm. And my wife Laura had that same kind of a feeling. We both almost felt a sense of relief.
Right.
That you're going to be okay, Hattie.
Right. Right.
Now, I know that you've mentioned that you have a family and obviously Shorty.
Yes.
And Shorty's a strong guy.
Yeah.
But he also has a very sensitive heart. And I'm sure that this is probably very difficult for you, being his manager and doing a lot for him.
Right.
I hope you're not carrying that guilt.
Oh no, he wouldn't allow me to carry
Good.
guilt like that. You know, he wouldn't allow that. Because whether people know it or not, he is a very spiritual person too.
He is.
Yeah, he prays a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I see him, we're driving along to a job or something, and he's praying as he's going,
Right.
you know.
Well, and
So-
also we had mentioned James Montgomery. I was
Yes.
on the phone a couple of times talking with James, and he is very, very sad about obviously what happened to you, and he also thinks that things are going to turn out well.
Right.
And he so much wanted to be here today
Yes.
to share his stories about
Our
you and he,
relationship,
and
yeah.
you know, this is not going to be the last show that we do. We're going to continue to progress, and we're going to bring people in, and we're going to continue to put this out into the light and share your story with everybody. But talk a little bit about the support. I know that you really haven't told too many people,
No, I have not.
and this is going to get seen, and this is going to go out there. It's going to be all over the media, and how are you going to react, and how are you going to handle to, I'm sure, the flood of love and the flood of support that is going to come into you when you're in somewhat of a fragile state?
I welcome that because the more love that is shown, the stronger that you become. That's how I see it.
Okay.
You know, like I have Allie here.
Uh-huh.
I would love for Allie to say something,
Uh-huh.
you know, because like even she was the first one that I told outside of the family. And even though she couldn't come in, she stopped by with a bag of stuff to comfort me, like a
Mhm.
blanket
Mhm.
and a bottle. I love her. She knows that.
We're going to be
Yeah.
here from Allie very
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Well, you know
But
that
I just want people,
we
if they
would have
wanna-
we would have done the same thing, but you kind of made a couple of transitions along the way, and
Right.
and
I just want to keep my address to ourselves.
oh, absolutely, you know,
But,
absolutely,
you know, my telephone number, I got an email address.
yeah,
You know, if they want to say anything, they can contact you,
yeah.
and you will get the word to me, which is great. I
Well, we're going to put
appreciate
that up on the screen. We're going to put
Yeah.
that up on the screen, and as I said, you know, we're going to continue along
Yeah.
the path.
Mm.
But talk a little bit about your treatment. I know that you've been to Dana-Farber, obviously
Yes,
the best
I've-
hospital in the world,
Yes.
and you've had 4 treatments to date.
Yeah, just 4 treatments to date.
And I know that they can be pretty debilitating after you have them. You become very tired and you become a
Yeah.
little bit sickly. How many do they have scheduled for you? Because you've had, what, 4 already?
I've had 4 already. And they said that in order for me to see a change, I have to do at least 6 months of treatments.
Okay.
But the problem is I have to make sure that I drink enough food because my weight has dropped so fast.
Yeah, and you look fantastic.
Well, thank you. Yes, it dropped so fast.
Yeah.
I have to, now I'm having problems with if you don't eat, your potassium and all of that get
Right,
out of
all the
whack.
chemistry and everything goes
Yeah,
out of
your
whack.
platelets drop. My platelets has dropped.
Yeah.
When we first started out, my platelets was like 356. Then after the first treatment, it dropped down to 206,
Uh-huh.
and the third treatment it dropped down to 106, and just the other day I had a break in between. It dropped down to 88.
Wow.
So that means that I got a bill. I have a treatment coming up on the 14th, and it means that I got to get my platelets and stuff up and get my potassium in whack because I cramp. And
That's a fluid, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are they supplementing you with medications, and are, you know, you doing just the chemo, or do you
I'm
have...
just doing chemo.
just
To tell you
chemo.
the truth, let me tell you what happened with the medication. See, I've never been a person that take narcotics for pain.
Okay.
I've never been a person that drank
Right.
or anything like that. So
Right.
this was, the pain part was difficult for me
Mm-hmm.
because the fact that after I had the out-of-body experience,
Right.
I stopped all pain medicines.
Right, okay.
That's a miracle. They was telling me that I'm a miracle child. That's a miracle. I take nothing for pain.
Now, did they... You're not taking it because it's tolerable, or...
I can't tolerate it.
And you can't tolerate the medicine.
Can't tolerate the medicine.
So it's easier to tolerate the pain than the medicine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now,
So,
what are
you
the
know,
consequences of taking yourself off the medicine as far as what that may or may not do to you?
well, what's going to happen is I'm going to be going to a pain management
Okay.
starting next week.
Uh-huh.
So they're going to be trying to see exactly, because the only thing that they're concerned about is the fact that I need to eat.
Right.
You know, if I can tolerate the pain comes from where the pancreas sits behind the stomach.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if I eat too much and the pancreas is no good,
Yeah.
it hurt the
Yes.
stomach.
Yes.
So it's easier for me like to drink stuff and, you know, and monitor amount of stuff that I'm drinking. I drink a lot of Boost, stuff like that.
What
and
about shakes? I mean, the health shakes and
I
the
do that.
fraps and all of those,
I do that.
nutritional drinks.
Yeah, I do that. I
Yeah.
do those nutritional drinks. I do
Now,
that.
you sure that you're not losing all this weight because of short taste cooking? You know, I mean, is that it?
Listen, Shante taught me how to cook.
I remember the restaurant. That you
Yeah,
had
he
there,
taught
and
me how to
there
cook.
was some darn good food there.
Yeah, yeah.
Darn good food there.
Yeah.
Now, did they give you any kind of progress chart of where you're going to go? Like you're going to do your chemo.
Chemo, yeah.
Did they give anything beyond that about what? Excuse me. What happens, after you do the chemo, and what kind of plan that you will be on?
We haven't gotten that far yet. All I know is it'll be 6 months. I do know that after I'm starting my second cycle, so after this cycle, after the 3 treatments, I'll be doing a CAT scan
Okay.
to see exactly if the tumor has shrank.
Okay.
So that'll be great too, and I'm looking forward to that because, I was saying to her Thursday, I feel so good at times.
Uh-huh.
I tell her I think I need to take a CAT scan to see exactly what has happened already.
Okay.
So
Now the tumor has to be, shrunk and reduced. It can't be excised.
right, I'm not because of the stage that is in.
Okay.
I'm not a candidate for surgery.
Right.
So that means that if they did surgery, that means that they would have to take my stomach, and I'd be doing IV fluids or intestinal, and I don't want that.
Right.
I always say once you expose it, it already has metastasized to my lungs and my liver.
How is your breathing?
My breathing is okay. Like I said, I get excited. I get so excited till I want to get everything out, and I get tired.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm good. This is the longest I've ever kept this mask on.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that you're heard loud and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it's about time we start wrapping this up a little bit, but we need to talk a little bit about what's going to happen forward. That, as I said, I'm honored that you've asked me to kind of walk through this with you and chronicle with this you. And I think as we go forward, we're certainly going to be checking back with you, and we're going to be talking with the Alleys, and we're going to be talking with the James Montgomerys, and we're going to be talking with Shorte, and we're going to be talking about anything that you want to do, because this is your show. It's not mine.
Yeah.
We're doing this for you, and I think that you are showing a tremendous amount of strength and a tremendous amount of courage. And if there is anyone who is going to progress through this, it's going to be you, not only because of that, but because of the love and the support that you have of your family and your friends.
Right.
And I am honored to be one of them.
Absolutely.
And any final words that you want to say for now before we conclude?
I just know we're going to conclude this, but we're going to continue this. As I go along, Frank and I are going to plan out what we need to do as far as continuing this and making sure that you see my progress, and we're going to beat this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, you've been listening to Hattie Barrett, and I wouldn't be able to do this without the help of my wife, Laura Walsh, who is running the cameras today. And then we also have to give a big thanks to Stoughton Media Access Television, who has allowed me, under very difficult times, to get the equipment and do this, and for them to work on this and to edit and make it air ready. So I thank everybody involved in this. And once again, Hattie, I want to thank you. We will continue. And ladies and gentlemen at home, I am Frank Walsh. Tune in and tune on.
Thank you.